Okay, so we are looking at what looks like a rat's nest of automation, but let me tell you that the impact it is having on our business, despite being a rat's nest of automation, is pretty impactful. So what are we looking at here? This is N8N. So the letter N, the number eight, and the letter N. It is an automation platform very similar to something like Zapier or Make, a little more capable of doing things. So I think you could probably build out similar stuff if you wanted to. But I've moved over here because cost of running it is incredibly low. What have we built in this? This is a lead follow-up agent using AI to send texts to any lead that comes in via Facebook. So if anybody's done Facebook leads before, like, they're notorious for ghosting you. Like, they're just horrible for ghosting you. It's so hard to get them to respond. You have to respond to so many of them to get a lead. I don't know. At least that's been our experience. Like 5 years ago, different story. But as time has gone on, so many people have done it. Everybody's running similar ads. Like what's your home worst type of ad, or here's a listing type of ad, or whatever type of ad. There's only so many ads that you can run in real estate. And more people are running them, and so the result is less and less people are responding to them. On top of that, you go back 10 years ago, and I forget who did the study, MIT, somebody did the study, and it showed that you had to respond within 5 minutes to get somebody to be more likely to get somebody to respond to you, which, okay, most of us might be able to pull off 5 minutes. It's tough. If you're seeing somebody, it's definitely difficult, but that has changed today to where you need to respond in 60 seconds. So I don't know about you, but I don't think there's a lot of humans on the planet, even if they're an inside sales representative for a customer, that can respond in 60 seconds. I don't know. Not consistently. I'm sorry, but if you got to go to the bathroom, you missed your chance. And so if that's the case, then how do we possibly respond to leads that are notorious for ghosting you, but also expect you to respond within 60 seconds before they move on, or just ignore you altogether? You literally need to be right on top of it. And the only way that I can see doing that is if you use AI. That's the only way that I can do it, other than or just canned messages that go out, right? That sort of thing. But instead, I thought I would invent James. So how did I come across the name James? I went online and I found what are the most trusted names in the English language, and I got several of them. James seemed like a really good name, so we chose it. It's one of the most trusted names out there, so we picked James as the bot. It is an AI agent that will respond to texts, answer questions about a property to a degree, and then pass it over to a real estate agent when they want to talk about actual real estate stuff. That's the goal here. So this is how this automation works. A lead comes in down here. We're going to start down here. Lead comes in, boom, boom. Right, it goes in. I dump it into a database because I need to track it later. Now, we also use Monday.com as our CRM, so we are going to put the data in that. You're going to see that a little bit down the road. But in the meantime, I need to manipulate some of the data coming in, and I want to be able to track their history, because this is going to follow up with them over a distance of time. And on top of that, it is going to want to know their history. If for some reason they end the conversation now, but want to start a conversation 2 months from now, I want this to be able to remember who they are and go, hey, right, we were talking before, you're talking about this, but now you're talking about this, so let's move on, right? So it remembers details about the people. And then from here, this is the first AI agent. And so we're using OpenAI. I'm using ChatGPT 4.1 because it seems to be a little faster in the responses. Maybe I could use GPT-5 Nano, or I could use Gemini or something else. But right now, this is the one that we're using. It has access to the same database and the same information. There are 2 tables in the database. One is specifically for the leads, and then the other one is for the conversations. Right? And so it has the ability to see that data and write to that data if necessary. Right? And then it also has the capability to a sort of web search. I've narrowed its web search capabilities just to our listings page and to our About Us page. So it can see all of our listings and all the information that is available on the website on our website about our listings, and it can see information about our contact information and who's on our team, that sort of thing, which means those are the things that it's limited to being able to answer. And then what it will do is it waits 5 seconds, because sometimes people will type in multiple messages. And so I need it to wait long enough that they finish typing the things that they want to type. I want it to capture all of those in one message so that it can answer it as a single message instead of saying back, "Hi, my name's James," right? That sort of idea. And so it writes it, waits 5 seconds, sends the message back to them responding to their initial request, whatever that initial request was, right? And then we move it over into Monday. So let's pull up monday.com. And it dumps it into the leads table, which is here. So you can see right now it is actively following up with these individuals. It dumps it into here, and then it waits for a response. Let's go back to our automation. So then it goes into monday.com, and from here, it's going to split it out. It's going to go, hey, has the person responded? And if the person has responded, then it's not going to do anything, because it meant that it moved over to this workflow, which we'll talk about in a minute. If they have not ever responded in before, so we don't have a message in the database saying they tried talking to us back, it's going to continue on, and it's going to look them up, and then again, it's going to check any other responses, pull those messages out for us, and then do a bunch of fun stuff with it in the database, and then it's going to wait 1 day. So it sent the initial message, it's going to do some fun stuff, and then it's going to wait 1 day, and then in 1 day, it's going to reach out again. So what it's looking for here is, I sent a response. Have they responded? No. I'm going to try again tomorrow. And then tomorrow, it tries again. This is the agent here. You can see it still has access to ChatGPT, still has access to the database, and still has access to the same web search. So it sends out another request and says, hey, you didn't respond to me yesterday. I just thought I'd reach out again and ask, are you interested in setting up an appointment? Do you want to talk to somebody about this property? Do you have a question about the property? That sort of idea. Sends the message, and then boom, swings it back around here again for another check to see, did they respond? No, right? And if not, it will do this, and it will loop this around for 10 days straight. Now, I can change that. I'm just experimenting with 10 days, but that's the idea. Each day it is going to try. It is never going to worry about rejection. It is never going to worry about ghosting. It's never going to do any of those things. It's just going to keep trying. But it's doing this initial response within seconds, right? The lead comes in, boom, 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 boom. Within 30 seconds, it's sending a response. So then the next one is, if they respond, then James needs to have a conversation with them. So it checks the database, records the lead, checks to see if there's anything there, and updates the information. And then I do some work here just to make sure I get all the messages again. And then boom, classify whether the text is positive or negative, which is important. Sends it over to the agent, which sends a message back to them. Again, you can see it has access to ChatGPT, has access to the database, and has access to our website, right? It waits just a little bit of time, not very long, right? Just to make sure that there isn't a problem occurring between these two things. There was a problem. And so it's waiting 5 seconds, and then it's sending the text out. Now, it also classifies the text that they send on whether or not they were booking an appointment or not booking an appointment. So if they're booking an appointment, then we want to send them over here, right? And just add them to the lead and classify them correctly. So not interested, just looking for information, whatever. They're not a lead we need to continue to follow up with. The idea is that once they've responded to the chatbot, I want it in the hands of a real person as fast as possible. So it now goes, oh, no, you don't need to respond to this lead. But if they do have a positive intent and they want to book it, it goes through and it changes the lead in monday.com to AI requests for booking or call. So it moves it to here. And when it gets moved to this one, then that automatically notifies somebody on our team that they need to get a hold of this person as soon as possible to talk to them. We have already done a deal from this. And what I'm really surprised about was how many people are not ghosting us in the conversation. So let's see if we can figure out the math on that, because I should have done that ahead of time for you, but I don't think I have. So I'm going to look at executions and successful ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. So I've had 9. These ones are me testing down below. right? So we've only had this running from August 7th. That's it. That little bit of time, right? So not very long. Sorry, August 6th is when we had this running. And we really started running it live on the 7th. And so these amount that you had, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The errors are the same person. 9. I'm going to go into the database and I'm going to show you out of the 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 responded to us. And we've done one deal. 5 out of 9 responded to the chatbot. I'm going to repeat that because it hasn't sunk in. We started this conversation saying, you know how Facebook leads kind of ghost you and they don't respond and it's hard to get them to respond, that sort of thing. 5 out of 9, more than half of them have responded to the chatbot. And the person that we're doing the deal with, they had an interesting comment earlier with us, which was to the sales rep going, should I talk to you or should I continue my conversation with James? James is the AI bot. They're like, I'm really comfortable with James. I should talk to him. I thought that was really interesting, but more than half are responding to the chat bot because he's so quick at it. So I started this video going, I just wanted to show you this automation, but I think I'm ending this video because the world is changing really fast in front of us. AI is impacting so many different things in so many different ways. And I haven't even talked about the cost of running this yet, right? If the expectation is going to go to a 60-second response, the only way to do that is with tools like this. I believe, I can't imagine that you're going to hire somebody who can respond that fast, and the cost to do it would be overwhelming because it just would be, right? Plus the concept of how many times you need to get a hold of a person to get them to respond is a whole different ballgame. And it took a while to build this. Don't get me wrong. It's not like I built this overnight. Taking my time out. So my thought on this is consider that. When you're looking at these tools and you're going, is it worth learning them? I don't think there's a choice. I think you have to learn these, or you have to have somebody on your team that's learning these, or you have to have a trusted individual that knows these tools. This is like, do I need to learn technology? Like, yeah, this is the same thing. My other point I want to make on this is cost. So there's services out there that you can buy that do this sort of thing for you, and they're not that bad. They're like $250, $400 a month, that sort of thing, which is nothing compared to the amount of business obviously they could bring out if more than half of the leads are responding to it. And out of 9 leads, we're already doing one deal. But talk to me in a year, I guess, when we ran this for a length of time against those ads, and see how many deals we've done in comparison to previous years, because you can always get lucky with a deal, right? Like, it's not a big sample size yet. But my cost of running this is for my server, which I run all sorts of automations, same as this. This server costs me around $8 a month to run. Now it's American, so about 400 Canadian, just kidding. $8 a month to run. The texts are cents on the dollar to run, like to send those texts through Twilio, which is the service that we're using for running it. And then Monday we had before, so it's not part of the mixture. I pay for OpenAI's API, which for me is cost, like to do a text is costing me like less than a cent, right? So altogether, this is adding up to maybe $9 a month to run as a technology. Now, that's not taking the time, effort, and expertise I have to put it together, obviously, because the execution is the big piece, and it took me time to build it. But the ongoing cost of running it is relatively low, and I won't know how much maintenance is needed and how much fixing is required of it as the year goes on, which is why you pay for a service as opposed to building things yourself. But in comparison to an inside sales rep, that is a really enticing trade-off. So anyway, something to think about. So we're 17 minutes into this call. I'll probably cut it down a little bit because I'm talking a lot. But I wanted to get this out there because it's pretty exciting to see leads respond that in the past have just ghosted, but they're willing to respond to an AI, which there's research to say that that's the case out there, and significant research to show that that's the case. I'd love to know your thoughts. If you have questions about it, just let me know. But the future is here, people, and expectations are changing. So there you go.